When Julian got married, Veronica Hale chose not to tell his new wife that the house they were living in was still legally hers. She had raised her son in that same home and had poured her whole life into it, but she kept the truth quiet. Soon became clear why. Only a few weeks after the wedding, Bianca and her mother, Yvette, began acting like the place already belonged to them. On one quiet Sunday afternoon, Veronica was in the kitchen making coffee when she heard their voices in the living room. They were talking excitedly about colors, furniture, and new designs. "We could move that sofa and paint this wall cream," Bianca said cheerfully. "Yes, and this space would be perfect for a bigger dining table," Yvette added. Veronica stepped into the room and saw them measuring the walls, smiling like proud owners. Bianca looked at her and said lightly, "Veronica, don't you think this house needs an update?" The smile did not reach her eyes. Bianca crossed her arms and tilted her head slightly. "You know," she said, "this house is really too big for one person. It would make so much sense for you to find a small place, somewhere cozy, more suitable for your age." Veronica froze, the coffee pot warm in her hand. Yvette nodded in agreement. "It's for your own good," she added gently. "All these stairs, all this maintenance, it's dangerous for someone your age." Veronica felt her chest tighten. She had lived in this house for decades, yet they spoke as if she were a temporary guest. "And Julian and Bianca will have children soon," Yvette continued. "They need the space. You've done your part already." The words stung deeply. Still Veronica said nothing. She placed the coffee pot on the table and quietly walked back to her room, closing the door with slow dignity. Sitting on the edge of her bed, Veronica inhaled deeply as her yoga instructor had taught her. "Breathe before you act," Dorothy, her close friend, always reminded her. Veronica whispered the words to herself and listened to the steady rhythm of her heart. She was not afraid. She simply understood that something had changed. A silent battle had begun, and she wanted to understand every move before responding. She replayed Bianca's tone in her mind, the way Yvette had spoken so confidently. "They think I belong somewhere else now," she murmured. "But they don't know the truth yet." Veronica straightened her back and stared at the framed photo of her late husband. "I won't let them erase me," she whispered. Even in silence, she knew she needed to stay calm, careful, and smart. When Julian had first told her he was getting married to Bianca, Veronica had been genuinely happy. Her son was 38 and had dated before, but she had never seen him so bright, so hopeful. "She makes me feel peaceful, Mom," he had said once, smiling. Veronica had believed him. She had welcomed Bianca with open arms, telling herself, "She will be like a daughter to me." She had even helped organize the small wedding, offering advice and gentle support. But after the ceremony, things slowly began to change. Bianca arrived with suitcases, then boxes, then more boxes. She filled every corner with her presence. "Just making it homely," she had said casually. Veronica had nodded politely, not wanting to seem controlling. She wanted her son happy, even if it meant sharing the space she had once ruled alone. Then came the first quiet shock. One morning, Veronica walked downstairs and noticed that the framed picture of her late husband was missing from the entrance wall. In its place hung a gold-framed mirror. "Bianca," she asked softly, "where is my husband's portrait?" Bianca looked almost bored. "Oh, I just wanted something more modern here," she replied. That old frame made the place feel heavy. Veronica swallowed her emotions. She retrieved the portrait and took it to her room, placing it gently on her dresser. Julian passed by without saying a word, glued to his phone. The silence from her own son hurt more than Bianca's careless words. Still, Veronica remained quiet, telling herself that peace was better than conflict, at least for now. Days passed, and the changes continued. Furniture was moved, her favorite armchair was pushed aside, and new decorations slowly replaced her personal items. "Don't worry, Veronica," Bianca laughed one afternoon. "We're just refreshing the space." Veronica forced a weak smile. "As long as Julian is happy," she murmured. But in her heart, she knew this was more than decoration. It was a slow takeover. Every morning she woke up to a home that felt less familiar. She would whisper, "This is still my house," but there was no one listening. Even Julian avoided looking at her whenever Bianca made new decisions. The distance between mother and son quietly grew wider, and Veronica felt a deep ache she could not put into words. The situation worsened when Yvette arrived, supposedly for a short visit. "Just a few days," Bianca had said brightly. But those few days turned into weeks. Yvette treated the home like her personal territory, using Veronica's things without asking. "These towels are so soft," Yvette remarked one day. "Yes, Veronica has good taste," Bianca replied casually. Veronica stood in the doorway, watching the two women laugh. She felt like a guest in her own life. "How long will she be staying?" Veronica finally asked. Bianca shrugged. "We'll see," she replied. "Mom needs company too." Every word made Veronica feel smaller, as if she had already been pushed aside. One morning after her yoga class ended early, Veronica returned home quietly and heard Bianca and Yvette whispering. She stood still, her heart racing. "This is the perfect time," Yvette said confidently. "We need to push her out before she realizes." Bianca hesitated. "But she's Julian's mother," she replied. "He might not like this." Yvette scoffed. "Julian will side with you. You're his wife. Just make her feel unwanted, uncomfortable. She will leave on her own." Veronica's hands trembled. Every word felt like a sharp blade. She stepped back slowly and left the house without making a sound, walking outside into the cool morning air. Tears burned her eyes, but she refused to let them fall. Veronica called Dorothy immediately. "I need you," she said quietly. "Please come get me." Minutes later, Dorothy arrived and drove her to a small diner. Over coffee, Veronica told her everything. Dorothy listened carefully, then sighed. "They are trying to steal your peace and your home," she said firmly. "But remember, the house is still in your name." Veronica nodded. "Yes, legally it's mine." Dorothy leaned forward. "Then you must protect yourself. Don't confront them yet. Be smart. See a lawyer. Gather your evidence." Veronica hesitated. "Do you think I should?" Dorothy squeezed her hand. "You deserve respect, Veronica. If not from them, then from yourself." That night, Bianca cheerfully mentioned apartments. "I found some lovely small places," she said, scrolling on her phone. "Very perfect for you. They even have elevators." Veronica smiled calmly. "Send me the details," she replied. Bianca's eyes lit with satisfaction. "Of course, Mom," she said sweetly. Veronica turned away, masking the fire inside her. Later, in the quiet of her room, she searched for property lawyers. "This is just the beginning," she whispered. Her fear slowly transformed into determination. She began to document everything, taking photos and saving messages. "They may think I am weak," she murmured, "but I am still standing." The following days felt heavy. Every conversation sounded rehearsed, every smile fake. Bianca continued changing the house, proudly showing her new purchases. "We needed something fresh," she explained. Veronica only nodded. Her silence confused Bianca, who expected more resistance. Veronica's calm was calculated now, careful and measured. "You're very quiet lately," Julian remarked one evening. "I'm just adjusting," she replied gently. Inside she was building her plan. She overheard whispers, caught glances, and made notes in her mind. "They will not win," she told herself softly before sleeping. One afternoon, Veronica came home to find her pots packed into boxes. "We upgraded them," Bianca announced casually. "These are better quality." Veronica stared at the familiar cookware, her voice steady. "Those are my memories," she replied. Bianca blinked. "Oh, Veronica, it's just kitchen items." Veronica shook her head slightly. "No, it is my life." The tension grew, but she refused to argue. Instead, she turned calmly and walked away. In her heart, she knew this was no longer about furniture. It was about dignity. Late that night, Veronica opened her house documents. She read every word slowly, verifying what she already suspected. "Sole owner," she whispered. The truth comforted her. She placed the papers carefully back in their folder and sighed. "Tomorrow, I take the next step." Her resolve strengthened. She was no longer just a silent observer. She was preparing herself. "I have given love all my life," she murmured, "but I refuse to be pushed into a corner." The next morning she called a lawyer's office. "Good morning," she said politely. "I need advice regarding my property." The receptionist scheduled an appointment. Veronica felt a strange relief. "Thank you," she replied. As she hung up, she gazed around her room. "This house raised my son," she whispered. "And it will not bury my voice." For the first time, she felt the control she had lost slowly returning. Meanwhile, Bianca and Yvette continued discussing renovations openly. "We will modernize everything," Yvette declared. "This place needs style." Veronica listened quietly. Her pride wanted to speak, but her mind told her to wait. "Patience," she reminded herself. She observed, remained calm, and smiled when necessary. Inside, her plan was slowly taking shape. "They think silence is surrender," she mused. "But silence is preparation." Julian avoided the tension whenever possible. "Mom, Bianca only wants what's best," he tried to explain weakly. Veronica looked at him with sadness. "And what about what is best for me?" she asked softly. He lowered his eyes. His silence hurt, yet it fueled her strength. "I won't beg for respect," she thought. "I will claim it." Dorothy called regularly. "Stay strong," she encouraged. Veronica appreciated her support. "I will," she assured. Each conversation added to her courage. Every moment alone sharpened her awareness. She was no longer just a mother. She was a woman reclaiming her space. That Sunday, a dinner conversation turned tense. "We should remodel everything," Yvette announced. "It's about time this house feels fresh." Julian hesitated. "That will cost a lot." Bianca smiled. "It will be worth it." All eyes turned to Veronica. She paused, choosing her words carefully. "A remodel is a big decision," she finally said. The silence that followed felt heavy, but meaningful. Bianca's smile faded slightly. She expected easy agreement, not thoughtfulness. "Well, we just want the best future for our family," Bianca insisted. Veronica nodded. "I understand," she replied softly, her eyes holding quiet authority. She knew then that the moment of truth would come soon. That night, Veronica sat alone by her window, watching the moonlight rest on the roof of the house she had loved for years. "You are still mine," she whispered. Her voice was calm, assured, and filled with quiet strength. The storm was still brewing, but Veronica had chosen her path, and she was ready for whatever came next. The next morning, Veronica prepared breakfast quietly, listening to the soft clatter of dishes as Bianca moved around the kitchen. "We really should talk about the spare room," Bianca said casually. "It's perfect for a nursery." Veronica stirred her tea slowly. "Is there something you'd like to tell me?" she asked calmly. Bianca laughed lightly. "Oh, nothing serious yet. Just planning for the future." Veronica nodded. "Planning is good," she replied. "But planning without respect can become trespassing." Bianca's smile twitched for a moment. Julian, sitting nearby, cleared his throat. "Let's not make everything so tense," he murmured. Veronica looked at him gently. "I'm not making it tense, Julian. I'm making it clear." The words surprised even herself. Her strength was beginning to show. Later that afternoon, Veronica visited the lawyer. Mr. Hastings welcomed her warmly. "How may I assist you, Mrs. Hale?" he asked. Veronica explained everything in careful detail. "The house is in your name," he confirmed after reviewing the papers. "Legally, no one can remove you or make decisions without your consent." Veronica exhaled quietly. "Then what should I do?" she asked. "Remain calm. Document every incident. And when necessary, assert your ownership firmly, he advised. She nodded. I will. Walking out of the office, Veronica felt lighter. The law was on her side, and for the first time in weeks, she felt safe. When she returned home, Bianca was in the living room rearranging cushions. You were out long, she said casually. Just running errands, Veronica replied. Bianca studied her face. Hope you're still considering those apartments. Veronica offered a soft smile. I consider all my options, she said evenly. That answer unsettled Bianca slightly. Well, don't take too long, she added. Veronica met her gaze. Good decisions require patience. The air felt thick, charged with unsaid words. Even Yvette sensed the shift. Everything okay? She asked. Everything is perfectly clear, Veronica replied with quiet confidence. That evening, Julian finally approached her room. Mom, can we talk? He asked gently. Veronica nodded and invited him in. I feel like you're upset, he admitted. Bianca just wants a fresh start. Veronica sighed. A fresh start doesn't mean pushing someone out, she said softly. This house holds my entire life. Julian looked conflicted. I don't want problems. Veronica placed a hand over his. Respect does not create problems, Julian. Disrespect does. He swallowed hard, unable to reply. He left the room thoughtful, and Veronica watched him go with a mixture of pain and love. Days passed with an uneasy calm. Bianca acted friendly, almost overly sweet. Veronica, I made soup for you, she announced one afternoon. Veronica accepted it politely. Thank you. Yet the tension never truly lifted. Every kind gesture felt calculated. Veronica stayed vigilant, recording conversations, saving messages, noting dates. They will not push me out quietly, she whispered to herself. Her silence was no longer weakness. It was her shield. One morning Yvette grew impatient. You haven't said anything about the apartments, she remarked sharply. Veronica looked at her calmly. I'm in no rush to abandon my home, she replied. Yvette scoffed. You're being stubborn. Veronica straightened her shoulders. I'm being grounded. Bianca intervened with a forced laugh. Let's not argue. Veronica smiled politely. There is no argument. There is a boundary. The words lingered heavily in the air. That night Dorothy came over for tea. You're handling this beautifully, she said. Veronica laughed softly. I don't feel beautiful. I feel tired. Dorothy squeezed her hand. Strength feels like exhaustion sometimes. Veronica nodded. But I won't back down. Dorothy smiled proudly. Good. They underestimated you, and that's their mistake. Veronica looked around her home. This house still knows my voice, she whispered. The following Sunday Bianca announced. We've decided to start remodeling next month. Veronica raised an eyebrow. Decided, she repeated. Yes, Yvette added. Painting, flooring, everything. Veronica folded her arms. And who approved this decision? A tense silence followed. Julian shifted uneasily. Mom, he started. Veronica held up her hand. No, Julian. I'd like an answer. Bianca hesitated. We assumed you'd agree. Veronica nodded slowly. Assumptions are dangerous. Later that evening, Veronica gathered them all in the living room. We need to clarify something, she announced. Bianca and Yvette exchanged nervous glances. Julian sat quietly. This house belongs to me, Veronica said firmly. Every decision made here runs through me. Yvette scoffed. That's not what Julian told us. Veronica turned to her son. Julian, what did you tell them? He looked shameful. I thought you'd pass it on to me. Veronica nodded. Thinking is not owning. Bianca crossed her arms defensively. So what are you saying? Veronica met her gaze. I am saying no one is forcing me out of my home. Yvette's voice rose. But it's only fair we have space. Veronica remained calm. Fairness begins with respect. Julian finally spoke. "Mom, we didn't mean harm." Veronica sighed. But harm was done. The truth hung uncomfortably in the room. From that day on, the tone shifted. Bianca's kindness faded, replaced with irritation. "You're making things difficult," she complained. Veronica smiled faintly. "I'm making things honest." Julian watched silently, torn between loyalty and love. Veronica no longer felt invisible. She felt seen. One afternoon, Bianca burst out, "You're acting like we're strangers." Veronica replied calmly, "Strangers respect boundaries better." The remark stunned the room. Yvette muttered under her breath, but Veronica stood firm. Her dignity no longer wavered. Alone in her room that night, she whispered, "This is my space, my life, my peace." She no longer feared the outcome. She welcomed clarity. "They will either learn to respect me," she murmured, "or leave." The following week, tension reached its peak. Bianca demanded another private discussion. "We can't live like this," she argued. Veronica folded her hands. "Then perhaps adjustments must be made." Bianca blinked. "You don't mean," Veronica responded softly. "Every action has consequences." Julian finally found his courage. "Bianca, maybe we rush things," he said carefully. Bianca stared at him. "Are you taking her side?" He swallowed. "I'm taking the side of peace." Veronica watched silently, knowing her message had landed. Yvette announced she would be leaving soon. "This house has too much tension," she muttered. Veronica simply nodded. "Safe travels." The door closed behind Yvette, and the air felt lighter. Bianca grew quieter after her mother's departure. "I didn't expect this," she admitted one night. Veronica replied calmly, "Neither did I." A pause filled the room. "But here we are." Julian approached his mother again. "I should have spoken earlier," he confessed. Veronica placed a hand on his shoulder. "It's never too late to choose respect," she said softly. The house slowly regained its peace. Veronica resumed her routines, her walks, her quiet mornings. The walls no longer felt hostile. "This is where I belong," she whispered with relief. As dawn crept through the windows, Veronica stood tall in her living room. Her favorite chair returned to its place. "No one silences a woman who knows her worth," she murmured. The battle had shaped her, but it had not broken her. She was home, and she was finally heard.